Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today's Q&A is a little self-serving on Susan G. Komen's part, but it was something that I thought was really interesting, and I don't think that we're utilizing it to its full extent, and I wanted to talk to Mr. Zach Morrow about it, who is a representative from Roundup app. And Roundup app, they have what I would call a really simple, easy philosophy. And it's to turn pocket change into global change by donating the change from your credit and debit card purchases to help nonprofits change the world, which I have said on a daily basis is all we're trying to do. We're just trying to end breast cancer forever. So I wanted to say thank you, Zach, for joining us today.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me on, and I'm excited to be a part of your mission and growing your impact within the community.
Yeah, great. And that's it. We love that word, impact, and that's all we're trying to do. So I have heard about Roundup. I still haven't downloaded it on my own phone. I'm going to tell you up front. So now we're going to use me as a test case as well, I'm sure. But I wanted to talk to you. One, what was the idea? You just told me you've been with the company since day one, right? Since you started up. So what was the idea? I love that it came from somewhere. Were you sitting around the dining room table and just being like, hey, let's do this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I think our founding team really had a passion for serving the nonprofit space well and saw a model be really successful in another business sector per se. And so we saw this pay or change model be successful for investments. And we said, hey, why can't we just round up and give to our charities instead of just saving in our 401k? And so we were really inspired to want to serve the nonprofit space well, and had a team come together. And this is something that just got so much traction within the nonprofit space over the last 2 years that now we serve over 1,300 clients in all 50 states, have donors in all 50 states. And so it's just been a really fun journey to support nonprofits well with a simple, easy tool that's not even cost prohibitive for them up front.
Right, which is one, amazing. That's awesome. Thank you very much. And two, I'm just amazed at how successful it's been just over 2 years. That says a lot about your programming and your philosophy. So tell me a little about the difference. And I know, but I'm a genius, whereas not everybody is as brilliant as I am. Tell me a little bit about the difference between an app and a internet program, if you can. Do you know what I mean? Like an app is different, right? It exists on a different playing field.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So what we wanted to provide for nonprofits is accessibility on any and all platforms. So yes, we're called Roundup app, but that doesn't take away people that want to have it on their desktop or their laptop as well. And so we have an iOS app. So for Apple users, we have a Google Play app. For Android users, we also have a donor web portal. So it's the exact same experience on your computer or laptop as well. So really versatile for nonprofits to be able to engage any age demographic, even if they might be a little bit older, and feel more comfortable to do it on their laptop or computer or desktop.
Awesome. So let's get down to brass tacks. You told me it was easy to download and set up, right?
Yes.
So you have a little one sheet for us, correct, that tells us how to do just that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Let me pull it up. So how it works is really, let me make sure, yes, I have it pulled up now, is you can download it, like I mentioned, in your iOS App Store or Google Play Store, or go to roundupapp.com and click donor login. You can create an account there. And as you create an account, it's just some super basic information. We're not invasive to your privacy. And then you get to choose an organization. And so, of course, we want them to choose Susan G. Komen for you right now. And then they start linking their debit and credit cards. So the power really behind the product we have is that you can link all of your debit and credit cards so that every single one of your swipes, no matter if it's your Chase account or your Bank of America or your American Express account, every time you swipe, you can feel confident that you're rounding up and giving that spare change seamlessly to the organization that you've selected. After that, it's super simple. I'm sure we'll touch on security, but highest security level that we can go into detail as well. So that's kind of how it works from a setup process. Super simple, super easy. You can give to over 1.4 million charities in the United States. But again, we'd love for you to give to Susan G. Komen
Nevada.
specifically.
Susan G.
Yeah,
Komen, Nevada.
Nevada. Exactly. Yeah.
So, okay, and that's great. And you know what? You're right. That is easy. And like I said, I admit it, I've downloaded tons of apps. I don't even know. It's interesting. And this is probably my fault. I've never thought about downloading it for us. And yet I know we participate in it. And I was just thinking, every time I go to the supermarket, I do my card, and every time it asks me, do you want to donate $1 to help feed a family? Of course I do. Yeah. And so it's a no-brainer for me now. I just hit the dollar thing and move on. I'm like, how easy would this be for us as well? Now, I do get security's a big, big issue for a lot of people. I have connected my bank account to apps, and nothing bad has happened. Now I don't do it randomly, right? Like I mean, it's a budgeting app that I use that I love, and I've never had an issue. And I kind of feel that you guys, as programmers and representatives of the company, are attaching your credit card information to your app as well, right? And you don't want to lose your information, so you kind of protect us with the same vigor, right?
Yeah, definitely. We'll touch on privacy. One thing I think you mentioned there, which is super unique, is you go to the supermarket and they ask you to round up $1. And you're like, of course, I want to help feed a family in my community.
Yeah.
One unique thing is that's super powerful is now that it's not just, hey, when you go to your local grocery store, but it's also, hey, when I go online and shop it at Walmart.com, or if I'm out at the pet store or wherever I'm swiping, I know that all of my transactions, not just at my local grocer, or giving to something I care about. So that's super powerful for the donor, not to be limited to one avenue. Just wanted to highlight that as you touched on it. But yeah, security, I'll jump in and share another quick one pager on that. Security is super, super important to us. Let me get it pulled up. And yeah, here we go. No, security is super, super important to us. Well, like you said, what's most important is that we never have access to your actual card numbers. So those are housed in Stripe. So it's a payment processor that's kind of the forefront in payment processing. Many of you have probably heard of Stripe before. That's who does that. It's used by everyone from Amazon to Facebook to even Girl Scouts as well. When it comes to linking your actual bank account, like you said, you have a budgeting tool that utilizes that as well, or maybe some of you that are watching use Venmo. And so Venmo, we use the same company that Venmo uses, that probably your budgeting tool uses as well, to authenticate your bank account. And so that is a tool by Visa. Visa is definitely a trusted partner in the payment banking space. And so from a security perspective, fully PCI compliant, SOC 2 compliant, if we have some privacy and technical people out there watching. But this is kind of a rundown of security is super, super important to us, and we do take it very seriously.
Yeah. And if somebody feels they might be having an issue, is there a phone number they can call and be like, hey, or an email?
No, that's a great question. So there's you can email inside the app, but even more powerful is we have live people waiting to communicate inside of a chat bot. And so if you go to support inside the app, you can yes, email us, or you can say, hey, I want support immediately, and email a live representative here in the United States that's online, ready to support you in any regards. If that's security questions or even just app functionality, or hey, how can I get this set up? So definitely want to be there to support donors and nonprofits.
Awesome. And then, okay, so I've downloaded the app. I've picked my nonprofit. I've connected my card or my debit or all of the above, right? I can do one card if I want to. I can do
exactly
the 3 cards that I have. Okay. Now, can I, not that I would want people to do this, but I am all for people supporting as many organizations as they choose to. Can I change my recipient on occasion?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
So right now, you give to one organization, and that's really that we want that to start adding up to the organization as well. And so, of course, we want them to give to Susan G. Komen of Nevada, But after, if it's 6 months or 12 months, they want to switch organizations to the local food bank, they can always do change organization and then go find one of the 1.4 million other nonprofits to give to.
Right, which is great. I love that idea. Now, let's say I'm a nonprofit that's not on your list. How do I get on?
Yeah, great question. So if you're an IRS certified nonprofit, then you should be on our list. If you've come on in the past month or two, you can always reach out to us at roundupapp.com, whether that's the live chat on the website or shooting us an email at support@roundupapp.com. But again, unless you're a new, very, very new nonprofit, you should already be on our app.
Got it. Okay, so now let's start again. I've downloaded the app. I've connected Susan G. Komen, Nevada as my nonprofit. I've connected my cards. I am now making a purchase. I make a purchase, then what?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm at the store, I make a purchase, or let's say this morning you went to Starbucks and the pandemic is not currently in place. So I go in the morning, go to Starbucks and spend $3.50 on a coffee and swipe, and then receive my coffee. On the back end, then we round up to $4. So that 50 cents is then given to Susan G. Komen of Nevada. So it's a painless process that there's no confirmation out of point of sale. There's no pop-up on your phone that says, hey, do you want to round up this 50 cents? It's just every time you swipe inside of the app, we track and you can see your transactions and what they rounded up. And at the end of the month, all of those spare change donations are then donated to the organization. So pretty seamless. Once you opt in, it's automatic. And some people are concerned, I swipe a lot, or I go to Starbucks 4 times a day. Well, inside the app, you can also put maximums on your monthly donations. So if you say, hey, I don't want to give more than $30, or I can't afford right now in life more than $20, you can set that cap in there. And so you can swipe confidently knowing that, hey, hopefully I make it over that $20 or $30, but I'm going to cap it there for budgeting constraints.
Oh, that is actually, that's awesome. I think that's actually a great feature. And one of the things that I think would keep people from downloading it is, well, it may end up being $1,000. And you're like, no, maybe over the course of a year. And wouldn't that be fantastic? But you can set a monthly limit. That's great.
Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. All right. So I've downloaded the app, which is really easy. I've picked my Susan G. Komen, Nevada nonprofit. I've connected my credit cards. I've gone out. I've shopped. You guys automatically round up for me up to a point. If that's what I want, I can set a budget. Then do you send me a statement monthly, or how do I know how much I'm donating?
Yeah. So at the end of the month, you'll get an email confirmation of kind of what's been given. And at the last day of the month is when we pull out in that evening. So anytime you can go back in your app and see what you gave last month, from a tax deduction perspective, that is the organization has full control over that. So you'll get a tax receipt as a donor from the organization you're giving to.
Awesome. And I hate asking negative questions. But I'm going to ask a negative question. I know, I'm like, this is not in my normal repertoire, but on the off chance that sometime in your life someone steals your credit card and they're purchasing things that are being rounded up, what happens?
No, that is a really, really great question. So for a donor at any time, if they have concerns with their donation at the end of the month, they can always request a refund or say, hey, I didn't realize that I was still donating, or something went wrong, and they can receive a refund from us or even from the nonprofit. And so the nonprofit has full control over all of that as well. And so we can, at any time at the end of the month, if there's an issue or something that was wrong with the card or concerns, we can always issue a refund back to the donor.
Wow. You guys have covered everything, haven't you? I mean,
yeah, I would love, if you have any more negative questions, let's go.
No more negatives. And that, I was just, it would be something that I would think. I was like, oh shoot, what if someone steals my card,
Yeah.
And then I've got to cancel it and then, redo it, but that's fine. I don't ever foresee that happening, of course.
Exactly.
Right?
But you never know. And so we just really want to enable the donor to feel confident and the nonprofit to also feel confident. And so that's why our model is you don't have to pay anything up front to utilize it as a nonprofit. And so your success is then our success. And so we're really closely aligned in those values of supporting nonprofits and donors well.
Awesome. You know what? Wow. And it's so funny. Every time I do one of these Q&As, I think, oh, it'll be good. Yeah, it'll be good. Let's try it. And then I'm like, wow, that's just amazing, interesting information. And not just because it's a way for my nonprofit to make money, but I love the idea of innovation. I love the idea of people going, hey, that worked for them. Why don't we apply it to this sector of business or whatever. I just love to see this kind of innovation in the world. And at this time when bad things are happening, for lack of a better term, that there is a chance that great things will come out of it. And that's what I'm hoping for, right? I'm pulling for the great things that will come out of this.
No, totally. And I think it's super unique that, I mean, innovation is spurred on by difficult times or change. And so the environment of fundraising, even in the nonprofit space, is evolving very quickly. We don't see millennials writing checks anymore or even having checkbooks, right?
Right.
So yes, maybe we provide them a card swipe every so often, but how can we increase the recurring donors to nonprofits, which are so powerful, but also then how can we make it super seamless and fun and interactive, and really the impactful part for the donor to know that, hey, I just swiped and gave my 50 cents to Susan G. Komen of Nevada that I care about.
Right.
And so making it really part of the donor's lifestyle to be giving back in a meaningful way.
So I don't know if you have the answer to this question. I'm not trying to stump you, but out of curiosity, do you have the metrics on demographics of who uses the app? Just out of curiosity.
No, it's a really great question, and it ranges, and we don't give out specific information. We want all of our donors to feel confident in that. But most of them are under 45.
Okay.
So that's just kind of general high level, but it varies greatly, even in donation amounts from different individuals. So it's interesting to see a stay-at-home mom that might be running around more, or dad, stay-at-home dad that's swiping to with the kids after school to get snacks, stuff like that, is giving more than maybe somebody who's more at home, or a student in college who isn't swiping as much. And so it's neat to see the different lifestyles. It's really correlated with their lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so it's tied to consumer spending. So if I can afford and be swiping more, I can also probably afford to be giving more as well. And so it's really neat.
And I love that it's actually not labor intensive on the giver's part. I mean, like, you really take almost all of the work out of it, and I get nothing but pleasure. I get to spend my money, and I get to do good. How awesome is that?
Yeah.
It's one of those,
powerful.
I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud. It's a, I'm going to have my cake and eat it too scenario, right?
That is a really, really, really great way to look at it. And some products we're looking at building out of rule-based donations of, if I go eat my cake at a nice steakhouse and spend a large amount, do I then give more to my charity as well? And so that's something we're definitely looking at, and our products continue to innovate and evolve. But you are correct. It's that mentality right there.
Yeah, awesomeness. Gosh, now Zach, has there anything that I didn't ask that I really should be asking you, or that you need to tell us before I say, good job, let's download the app?
No, it's a great question to ask. I think from our perspective is, I touched on this earlier, is we really want to empower nonprofits with powerful tools to support their recurring donors, but then also for donors to have seamless, great interactions with the nonprofit. And we feel like our app really does that well. And so I think it's a marrying of the two of the nonprofit success. Your success at Susan G. Komen of Nevada is also our success. And so we're really aligned and partnered from a mission side as well to grow your impact. So yeah, that's kind of our driving force, and will continue to be our driving force as we support nonprofits and donors well.
Oh, that is awesome. All right, Zach, I do appreciate your time. You never know, we may have some follow-up questions for you, but I'll just send them via email. But this has been great, and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.